Okay, we are live now.
Good evening, class. Hello, all. Okay, so I hope I'm audible and visible to everybody out there. Fine. Class, I hope you can hear me. I hope I am audible. And yes, you can keep messaging me. Fine. So welcome to yet another session of the Power Reading series. Welcome you all. So I think in my previous session, I hope all of you might have attended that session. And if you've not seen the video, you can see it now after, of course, this session. Okay. So what did we do in our previous class? I happened to discuss the basics of reading, the fundamentals. And I told you about how should you get started with reading. And then finally, we touched upon the concept of the main idea. Okay. So today, what exactly are we going to do? We will today delve deeper into this concept. Okay. So of course, we want to nail this. We don't want to leave any stone unturned. Fine. So today we'll be moving into the nuances, the subtleties of this concept, so that no matter how difficult the text is, no matter how obscure the language is, we should be able to find out the main idea accurately. Okay. So I hope you can read this quote on my next slide. Yes, reading is important, of course, for us. And most importantly, I believe that if you read something, but you don't get the main idea, trust me, you've not read it at all. Yes, so it is that important to get the main idea. And of course, you have so many questions coming up these days, and right from the beginning, one or the other question based on main idea has always been there. Okay, so let's see. Of course, I discussed main idea with you in my previous class, but still I'm trying to reinforce this for you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hi, all of you. Once again, yes. Fine. So main idea is something we already know by now, that it will convey the crux of the passage, as we say. It's kind of a theme. You can take it like, what the author is trying to convey to me. All right. And of course, it often talks about, for example, if I see the content of any passage, it'll talk about the who, what of it, where of it, whatever is being discussed. So often, for example, I've of course mentioned this example. When I say main idea is the theme of the passage, students often confuse it with the topic. Imagine that there is a passage which is on civil war. So if I ask you the main idea, students say civil war. It's not just that. What exactly about the civil war? That's why I always say the what of it and the why of it, you have to think a lot about it. So example is, say a topic might be the civil war. The main idea about the civil war might be what were the causes of the civil war. Maybe, the oppressive policies of the government and the economic crisis of the nation. So main idea, how exactly are we supposed to grasp it? Let's move over to this. See, in the question form, whenever in the passage you get this, the language might be anything like this. This passage is mostly about the thematic highlight of the passage is, the primary purpose of the author is this. Okay, which of the following best expresses the central idea, the gist, extract, essence, plot. So whatever the question stem is, we definitely understand it's all about the main idea. If they ask me the title of the passage, this is also a condensed form of the main idea. So when they're asking me the title, I need to understand that this is also, it's going to be catchy, it's going to be concise, but it should represent the main idea of the passage. So I believe we have a broad outline of what the main idea is. But despite understanding the passage, students, we many times get confused between the close choices that are there. So fine, today, though I've told you the agenda for the class today is we want to nail main idea, but there's an added advantage. So I request all of you to be with me till the end. Okay, what's the added advantage? It is that, while discussing each and every passage, I'm also going to tell you, how exactly are you supposed to read the passage? What should be the approach for this particular passage? Where are you supposed to skim? So it's going to help you a lot, and I have taken up some challenging questions. So are you ready for some challenging questions? Okay, so let's get started. But before this, I want to tell you how can we, the slide is very important, so please listen to me very carefully. How exactly can we eliminate the wrong choices? Because that is where students get quite muddled up. Acha, okay, I'll go bilingual. A student is requesting me to go bilingual. Fair enough, Abhishek, no problem. Yes, Seema, partly, we can say that. Almost. Okay. Firstly, this is very important. This is where students go wrong. Main idea should neither be too narrow. Often there's going to be one option, beta, which is very narrow. What do I mean by narrow? It will be only talking about some specific detail. देखो passage में 10 बातें होंगी, हर बात main idea नहीं हो जाती. That's what you need to understand, right? So they pick up any detail and they put it up as the main idea. So you need to know that it is supposed to be broader. Okay? Sometimes it, just touches upon one peripheral idea, but they miss out completely on the important point. Okay, the main theme is completely missing. Any side wala idea, peripheral, as we say, something on the periphery or boundary, that idea is put up as the main idea choice. This is absolutely wrong. Don't fall for it. Likewise, don't go too broad. Now you need to maintain that balance. Okay, it should neither be too narrow nor too broad. For example, here in the too broad option, what do they do? See, just a second. In this too broad option, they only address the subject of the passage, but don't address the crucial aspect of the subject that they're talking of. I gave you an example. They would simply say that civil war is this, but it was not just about telling you what is the civil war. Specifically, it was about addressing the causes of the civil war. What brought in, what ushered the civil war. Okay, so you need to identify what it is. So you have to keep the scope. It shouldn't be too broad. It shouldn't be too narrow. There's one very important thing. Too extreme. Yes, जब हम inferences पढ़ाते हैं, तब भी हम आपसे बोलते हैं that you must not opt for too extreme options which are not substantiated by the passage. See, if my passage itself is saying some extreme stuff, then I'm sorry. Then of course we have evidence. Then that's a different case. Okay. But when I am talking of two extreme options which are not substantiated, which are not supported by the passage, that is where you have to be very careful. क्योंकि आप क्या करते हो, extrapolate कर जा रहे हो उसमें. छोटी सी बात बोलिए, maybe author is asserting his opinion about something and the author happens to be slightly I wouldn't say hesitant, but yes, slightly, he says it in a very weak way. He's not very assertive while expressing his opinion. Or option में ऐसा एकदम extreme option, where it says that the author is too much after this and he very strongly and very vehemently believes in this thing. So this is a difference, right, in the intensity. What is being said versus what the reality is. Another very crucial thing that you have to keep in mind. No outside information, please. जिसको मैं कहती हूँ brief में beyond the scope वाला option. Out of scope option. Sometimes it happens that they pick up things which are mentioned to a very slight degree. They completely enmesh some outside or alien elements into this. तो वो क्या कर रहे हैं कि पैसेज से कोई चीज निकाली और उसमें कुछ बाहर की चीज लेके आ गए और वो बिल्कुल आउट ऑफ स्कोप है, वो चीज मेंशन नहीं है पैसेज में. दैट्स एन आउटसाइड इंफॉर्मेशन. सो आई बिलीव आउट ऑफ स्कोप इज सच थिंग व्हिच कैन बी वेरी क्लियरली एलिमिनेटेड. ठीक है. एंड फाइनली, any conflicts and any contradictions. If you feel there is some element given in the option which contradicts the main idea, either the tone doesn't match, it is contradictory, fine, it is something which goes against what is mentioned in the passage, of course, you should be quick enough to eliminate such options. Is this much clear? So I'm sure if you keep these points in mind, nothing will stop you and you will eventually select just the right answer. Okay, class? So are we ready for our first passage? See, I hope I'm not scared you by telling you that, very difficult passages are there. No, they're not difficult that much. But of course, the first question I've kept as a simple one, as a warm-up exercise. And gradually, we will be moving over to the more challenging ones. Okay. So the first one, I am not going to handhold you because it's easy. So you are doing it on your own. The second passage is slightly challenging. So usme, of course, मैं आपको help करूँ. ठीक है. I hope all of you can see this, right? Please read the passage and find the answer. Send me your answers, please. Yes, Komal, of course. Beyond the passage, अगर कोई बात होगी बेटा, तो of course हम उसको थोड़ी select कर सकते हैं क्योंकि वो तो passage में दी हुई नहीं है ना. बेटा कंपैरिजन का पूछ रहे हो आप कोमल. सी अगर मेन आइडिया में ही कोई, अगर मेरे पैसेज में ही कंपैरिजन है, आई एम कंपेयरिंग द गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज ऑफ अमेरिका विद दैट ऑफ इंडिया, तो मेन आइडिया में भी वही कंपैरिजन दिखाएंगे. So it depends upon what the passage is talking of. Your question was a little vague. If I have not been able to answer it, please rephrase your question. Okay? Fine. And everybody, please, your eyes glued on the text. Oh, sorry. I'm waiting for your answers, class. Come on, quick. It's not that difficult. आंसर भेजिए जल्दी जल्दी. बहुत टाइम लग रहा है बेटा. Speed up, come on. You have to read the text and send me the main idea. Okay. Maybe you are sending it, but I am not receiving it. Yes. Yes, it's for 2022 and 2023 students. Okay. Make sure that you mark the question number. Like you tell me if you think that A is the answer. For example, you'll write 1A. Okay, okay. Students have started sending their answers to me. Very well done. Okay, seems that this was quite a cakewalk. Most of you are sending me the right answers. So without much ado, I would like to discuss the passage. बहुत आसान passage है. ठीक है. See, it's talking about Australian Center of. अब ये जो नाम होते हैं ना लंबे लंबे, उनमें उलझो मत. You understood Center of Disease Control. That much is enough. In Australia, of course. 6 months, everybody who is at least 6 months old should get a flu shot this year. Okay, an injection or a vaccine for flu. And this recommendation, okay, this is not very important, this particular sentence. Now, there's a bulletin that is reporting that a vaccine called Fluzone is now available, which is specially designed for people aged 65 years and older. This looks important because here onwards, they are now describing it. Now, sometimes students ask me such innocuous and innocent questions, simple questions like, Madam, how do you identify whether this portion of the passage is important or not? This comes with practice. And when you keep on mapping it, and when you try understanding the flow of the idea, automatically you get the feel of it. Okay? अब ये उन्होंने खबर के तौर पे आपको बताया है, ब्रेकिंग न्यूज टाइप की चीज बताई और आगे उसी को एलैबोरेट कर रहे हैं. आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि ये पॉइंट इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है. Why specifically for people who are 65 years or older? because older people produce less robust immune responses than younger people. Of course, their immunity is very less. Robust means strong. Scientists have produced this vaccine to give them better protection against the influenza virus. Okay, and of course, it's saying that because it can lead to a lot of complications in people. So the entire passage seems to be revolving around what? Of course, about the flu shots, but then the focus seems to be specifically on flu zone, isn't it? Because why? Why? Because they are specifically mentioning that older people need this high dose vaccine called flu zone because they have weaker immunity, of course. So let's come to the options. Everyone over 6 months old should get a flu shot this year. I don't think so, because this was not it. Soon the focus of the passage shifted to things like flu zone, right? There is now, I think it's very clear that A cannot be the answer. B says there's now a special high dose flu shot just for older people. This looks really nice because we are talking of a special high dose flu shot just for older people. Though we are not mentioning 65, but then when we say old, of course, we assume 60 plus. Okay. And that is anyway too much of a detail. Let's not be so fussy and fastidious about it. Right? So it's saying about a flu shot. And of course, that happens to be the focal area of the passage. So this looks very promising as an option. I put a small mark here. And as I've told you, that you have to think about each and every option. You have to weigh each and every option, right? Maybe we find a better option. See, देखते हैं. People over 65 years of age are more likely to contract. Now, many of you have marked C. Interesting. Should it be B or should it be C? ध्यान से देखो, analyze करो, तो आपको ये realize होगा कि C is not talking anything about the flu shot. It's not talking anything about this vaccine or this injection, whatever. Whereas the entire passage is about that. He is only telling me that people who are old are more susceptible to catching flu or are more vulnerable to flu. उनको ज़्यादा chances है flu catch करने के. That's it. But it's nowhere talking about, flu zone. It's not talking anything about the injection part of it. So obviously it's missing out on such a crucial concept. Are you getting me? I don't think C should be the right, because nowhere is it mentioning the protagonist of this passage, which happens to be the flu shots. समझ आ रही है बात आप? Due to complications, no flu shot can protect an older person. Come on, now here it is contrary to the passage. Passage is saying that flu zone is very, very strong and very promising. It's been designed specially for older people because older people need something like this. है ना? और D बोल रहा है कि no flu shot can protect you. तो ये तो बिल्कुल गलत ऑप्शन हुआ. ठीक है? So of course हम जो D option है इसको भी नहीं select करेंगे. The best option is going to be option B. Now, when I saw the chat at that point of time, I could see some students marking D. But then over the period of time, I see many responses which say C. So class, this is where we need to realize that हमसे बहुत गलतियां होती हैं. Exactly, that's right. D is beyond the scope, and in fact, D is contrary basically. Is this much clear? Why does B is everybody convinced now? Clear हो गया ना सबको? Ishita, Ravi, Rishita, Shilpi, clear hai? Anshika, Pujita, okay? Fine, so are we good to go? Shall we move ahead to the next question, please? And as I've already told you, it's going to be slightly challenging. बेटा अगर हम easy चीजें करते रहे, तो कैसे बात बनेगी? हम उस national level के competition में कैसे beat कर पाएंगे दूसरों को? Okay, and of course in my previous session, I did some really easy questions. This question also was easy. The passage was easy. Let's now move over to the next question. Yeah, so this looks a little lengthy. Are you scared? No, it is not. Every lengthy thing is not difficult, but yes, the first para is slightly difficult. It has some tough words out there. मैंने आपसे बोला है, don't be bogged down by lofty words. Please focus on the idea. ये समझने की कोशिश करो कि एग्जैक्टली मुझे क्या कन्वे कर रहा है. कोई वर्ड नहीं समझ आ रहा, कोई बात नहीं. डरने की बात नहीं. Don't be daunted by that. Okay, just read on. Come on, class, you can do it. Waiting for your answers. Quick, quick, quick. Done? Please send me your answer. Okay, finish reading. Chaliye. These are the options. बहुत सोच समझ के अपना ऑप्शन चुने. Okay, somebody is asking me the meaning of postulate. Postulate is to put forward. Okay, when you are proclaiming something, you are positing something. To posit is also put forward something. So if there is some belief or opinion of yours, you're stating that. That is to postulate. You postulate a theory, postulate a thesis. Okay. Yes, come on. Very nice. Okay. बहुत बढ़िया. Arav, Ishita, Anshika, Ravi, all of you, Surekha, Hariom, Naman, Shilpi, Rishit, no, not Shilpi, Rishit, all of you have given me the right answer. That's great. Okay. So let's move back to the passage. Let's try to understand what the passage is conveying, and then I will come to the answer choices. I don't want to directly declare the answer, okay, because then you don't listen intently. All right. देखिए क्या बात कर रहा है. क्लोज सिनोनिम्स की बात कर रहा है. It says it is not uncommon. That means it is common. ठीक है ना, डबल नेगेटिव वाला केस. It is common for close synonyms to be understood to share the same meaning. हमें लगता है it has the same meaning. And then it's giving you an example that the difference between the words like hard and difficult goes unnoticed. I'm giving you a tip today. Many times it happens that, the adjectives and the adverbs that are there, they are merely describing words. Fine. So sometimes they are only used to create an effect. Okay. So the most important thing happens to be nouns and the verbs. So if I say tragically unnoticed, so instead of tragically, had there been a more difficult word, अगर कोई ज़्यादा difficult word होता tragically के बजाय appallingly होता, अगर appallingly unnoticed, तो आप एकदम परेशान हो जाते. तो टेंशन लेने वाली बात नहीं, ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है, अननोटिस. तो हम समझ गए ना कि वो कहना क्या चाह रहा है. That's how you have to go about it. कि इन वर्ड्स के बीच में जो डिफरेंस है वो अननोटिस्ड हो जाता है, ठीक है. एंड इट सेज के आप इनको इंटरचेंजेबली यूज कर सकते हो. Okay, you may employ one or the other with complete indifference because आपको फर्क ही नहीं पता है, so you won't care much about the difference. Postulating no discrepancy between them. ओके कि कोई आपको उसमें कोई डिस्क्रिपेंसी ही नहीं दिखेगी. एंड इन जनरल चलता है ये, लेकिन मोस्ट पीपल लैक द स्क्रूपुलस pedanticalness to quibble over such trifles. Oh my God, take a deep breath, breathe. Now, what does this mean? Even if you don't understand this sentence, the good news is that it doesn't affect your understanding of the main idea. Are you getting me? Okay. जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको हर एक सेंटेंस का मीनिंग पता होना चाहिए. देखिए, वैसे तो आइडियली आपको पता होना चाहिए. लेट मी पुट इट स्ट्रेट एंड क्लियर विदाउट एनी हेजिटेशन. लेकिन उसके बिना भी यू कैन मेक डू समथिंग और द अदर. एटलीस्ट मेन आइडिया निकालने में आपको हर एक सेंटेंस का मीनिंग जानना उतना जरूरी नहीं होता है. बट बाय द वे, scrupulous is when you are very meticulous, very thorough, very hardworking, and you get into the details of something. Pedantic से बना है word pedanticalness. Pedantic is someone who is very finicky about and very academic in his approach, जो किसी subject की बहुत बारीकियों में जाता है. Often practical का उतना नहीं, but theoretically बहुत बारीकियां करता है and often boasts about it. So वही कह रहे हैं कि ज्यादातर लोगों को उनकी एकेडमिक डिटेल नहीं पता होती है कि वो इतनी छोटी छोटी ट्राइफलिंग चीजों के बारे में ऑब्जेक्शंस रेज करें. टू क्विबल इज टू रेज ऑब्जेक्शंस. दैट्स इट. सो फर्स्ट पैरा क्या कन्वे कर रहा है? यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एवरी टाइम दैट यू हैव फिनिश्ड वन पैरा, टेक अ मोमेंट, पॉज एंड आस्क योरसेल्फ व्हाट वाज दिस अबाउट. एक सेंटेंस में आप बता दो, एक नहीं दो सेंटेंस में अगर आप बता पा रहे हो, 1 to 2 sentences में, that means comprehension has taken place. That means something got anchored here or registered here. नहीं बता पा रहे हो, that means sorry. Okay, तो जल्दी जल्दी करते हैं because we're running out of time. So the first para हमें समझ में आ रहा है कि वो कह रहा है कि often हम लोग समझते हैं कि जो close synonyms है हमको लगता है कि उनमें same meaning है. ठीक है, in general चलता है, लेकिन we'll have to dig into it. Example वो दे रहा है, the test was hard, the test was difficult. ठीक है, और फिर उसके बाद में finally वो बता रहा है, मुद्दे की बात मैं आपको सीधे बता दूं, that कई जो words होते हैं वो क्या होते हैं, they look similar, लेकिन it's about the feeling or the mood that they come. ठीक है, and हमें इस चीज का एहसास होना चाहिए. We should understand what a particular word makes us feel like, what is the mood that it is conveying. So the entire passage का main idea यही निकल के आ रहा है कि close synonyms maybe there is a shade of difference in terms of the mood and the feeling that they convey. That's it. So let's move to the option. I believe it is very clear. अब देखिए यहाँ पे passage difficult था, but I believe options doable थे. Okay. ये कहता है close synonyms are difficult to comprehend, but it is not telling you the most important thing, जो मेरे ख्याल में D option अच्छे से cover कर रहा है. Okay, D option should be the right answer. Words with similar meaning have subtle differences in terms of feelings and moods attached to them. डिक्शनरी डेफिनेशन की ऐसी कोई बात ही नहीं हुई है, तो ये completely out of scope option है आपका. ठीक है. Okay. The difference between the words hard and, this is too narrow an option. They used it as an example, but this was not the main idea. Okay. So B also gets eliminated. Fine. Regarding A, it's missing out the thing. What is the difference between them in terms of the moods and feelings? So I think it's clear to everyone. This looks like a unanimous answer. Most of you have selected this. Are we satisfied? Are we done? Are we clear with it? I hope there's no confusion. Yes, class? And finally, the last passage of the day, which is very different. This is a literature-based passage. Yes. And I have seen students getting very fidgety when it comes to literature passages. The class, देखिए जरा आप attempt कीजिए. Tension nahi lena hai. Ab this one I'm doing with you. I'm doing this with you because I don't have enough time. Okay. And also because I want to tell you. मेरी बात ध्यान से सुनिए. Just wait. Don't read right now. What happens is when we talk about a literature-based passage, often in literature, see, it is some excerpt from any novel, apparently, and obviously, किसी book, किसी novel से लिया हुआ होता है, उठाया हुआ होता है, literature-based passage. Sometimes it can be more analytical, where they are comparing the writing styles of two authors, or maybe talking about an author and whatever over उनका रहा है, जो भी books उन्होंने लिखी, that's different. अक्सर it is picked up from some novel. So, number one, you have to understand the characters. Number two, you don't have to get muddled up with their names or something. Number three, and the most important, there will be a lot of description there. Often there is a kind of state setting. These are brilliant opportunities for you to skip and skim the text. I'm not asking you to completely skip it, but then there will be these descriptions, these details. Okay, जिसको आपको क्या करना है, skim करना है. You have to go through it in a perfunctory way. That's what you have to do. Is this much clear? तो आप इसको देखिए, and I'll tell you कैसे इसको पढ़ना है. Okay. Would you like to hear Mademoiselle R's play? Mademoiselle is simply a French word for miss or madam. Okay. Asked Robert. So there's some Rees, Madam Rees, and there is Robert. Coming out on the porch where she was. So there's some third person that we are talking of. Of course, Edna would like to hear Mademoiselle Rees play. Her music is heavenly. Of course, Rees jo hai, Madam Rees, unka music heavenly hai. This is a conversation taking place between Robert and a lady, जिनका भी नाम clear नहीं है. Okay. And इतना समझ में आ रहा है that Edna wants to hear Mademoiselle Rees play. And Rees, Madam Rees is a musician. Her music is very good. Okay. But she feared it would be useless to entreat her, to approach her, to request her. Okay. I'll ask her, he said. I'll tell her that you want to hear her. Robert says कि मैं उनसे बोलूंगा. She will come. और वो आएंगी. He turned and hurried away to one of the far cottages where Mademoiselle Rees was shuffling away. She was dragging them. यहाँ से देखिए आप, from here till the end, I believe. This is all description. Description, but with some important inputs. Okay, so this is not just a scene that is being sketched out. The character of Mademoiselle Rees is also being described here. तो हमको इसको तेजी से पढ़ना चाहिए, just gliding our eyes over the text. Okay? Okay, so देखते हैं, मैं आपको बताती हूँ कैसे exactly हम इसे करेंगे. She was dragging the chair in and out of the room, objecting to the crying of a baby, which a nurse, we don't care what the nurse is doing. Okay, nurse trying to put the baby to sleep. She was now here we are describing Rees, of course. She was a disagreeable little woman. Young nahi thi, okay. Quarrel करती थी. Temper उनका खराब था. Self-assertive type, very self-assertive, very opinionated, and slightly dominating, and a disposition to trample upon the rights of others. That means she was slightly pugnacious or dominating kind of a woman. Okay, Robert approached her without much difficulty. Good. She entered the hall and she came. Okay, during a lull, she made an awkward, imperious little bow. Okay, bow. Sorry. As she went in, she was a homely woman. अब देखो ये Miss Rees का ही description चल रहा है यहाँ पे throughout. With a small wizened face. Wizened is full of wrinkles and wrinkles, and body and eyes that glowed. She had no taste in dress, and what did she wear? We don't really care. That's not our business. इसको skim कर दो, उड़ा दो, बिल्कुल पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं. बस जल्दी से तुम्हारी आंखें तेजी से गुजरना चाहिए. important words आप पकड़ लो ताकि आपके दिमाग में कहानी clear हो जाए. And this should be done very swiftly. Okay. Ask Mrs. Pontellier what she would like to hear me play. She requested of Robert. अब ये पहुंच गई है and she's asking कि मैं क्या play करूं. She sat perfectly still before the piano, not touching the keys, while Robert carried her message to Edna at the window. So this looked difficult, but essence क्या है? कुछ नहीं है. It's just a simple narrative. Okay, that Mademoiselle Reese is a difficult woman, a dowdy woman, not attractive that way. Of course, old, slightly old, and she plays wonderful music. But जिस तरह से describe किया गया है उनको वो देखिए. Scene simply ये है that Edna wants to hear her play, and Robert entreats her, approaches her, requests her, and she comes to play for Edna. Simple. Okay, let's come to the choices now. This is where I'm not going to help you. You will do it on your own. Class, I hope the passage was clear. Come on, we have to wrap up the session now. So quickly figure out the answer. And I think after the explanation, it becomes all the more easy. Yes, your answers, please. Very well done. Naman, Ravi, Anshika, Surekha, Mashal, all of you have given me the right answer. Perfect. Great. Okay, I think it's time to discuss. Fine. Yeah, I'm going to eliminate the wrong choices and I will even tell you why I've eliminated this particular option. Okay. The first one. Characterize Mademoiselle Reese as someone who delights in making people uncomfortable solely for her own amusement. Now, honestly speaking, coming to this particular option, solely for her own amusement, I believe is extreme. I believe it's going beyond the scope of the passage because the passage doesn't mention that why does she do this way. And this is also, I believe, quite a small aspect of the entire passage. Because the passage also emphasizes that people want to hear Madame Reese. That means she is an amazing musician. So it's got something, it must have some essence from that end as well. To make a complete summary, a brief summary, that's what the main idea is, I can say. At least वो element completely ignore हो गया है. And ये solely for her own amusement, nahi. It was not just about her nature. Trust me, the entire passage is not just about, that she is someone who makes people uncomfortable. No. So this does not satisfy me. And I'm going to eliminate this option. B, emphasize that Robert shared a special relationship with Madame. Now, this again, special relationship is a very vague word. Agreed that in the passage, Robert is seen as confident enough that, if I'll entreat her, if I'll implore, if I'll request her to come, she will come and play. And he goes there. Okay, fine. So I believe he can approach Madame Reese. And Madame Reese, of course, acceded to his request. But can we say that Robert shares a special relationship? And even if he does, do you think this can be the main idea of the passage? I don't think so. Is this all that the passage is about? No. Look at C. Describe Mademoiselle Reese. Interaction with Robert. Okay. which reflects her general interest in social pleasantries. Again, this is too far-fetched. And anyway, Mademoiselle Rees is not a very sociable person. Okay, she's quite a domineering kind of a person, very, as they have said, self-assertive. So social pleasantries, I don't think so that she would be doing much of it. In fact, this seems to be wrong because usme likha tha that she'd bow down very imperiously, slightly. Imperious is arrogant, so she is not somebody who is too much into hey kaise hain aap aur अच्छे तो हैं सब बढ़िया है, you know, social pleasantries में वो था नहीं. And is this all about that? No. Okay, D is the best option. Have a look at this. Establish Mademoiselle Rees's unpleasant attitude and appearance, which contrast with the beautiful music she makes. Wow. Now, this has so beautifully summarized what this passage is about. Okay. It's saying that there's a contrast. On one end, she's somebody with not a good appearance and not a good enough attitude. But then it contrasts with the beautiful music she plays. Okay. So they've even covered the aspect that she's an amazing musician. She plays piano. Right? So, of course, D is the best choice. Fine. So class, I think that was all for today. Why not A? All right. Surekha, this is something we need to understand that number one, the underlying portion in the A option, this is not supported by the passage. Firstly, all right, solely for her own amusement, this is slightly out of the scope. It's not given in the passage, firstly. Secondly, do you think it was only about telling you know, what kind of a behavior or an attitude does Madam Rees carry? Was it only about her attitude and behavior, Surekha? No. It's telling you about her dress up as well. And most essentially, what is the theme? What is the setting? It's, you know, somebody earnestly requesting Rees to play. So this suggests that it was about her music essentially. So music is a very important component. If music is not there in an option, I believe it's an incomplete main idea. Are you now convinced? I hope I have addressed your query. So class, I hope you enjoyed the session today. I try my best to bring you passages from every discipline, okay? Passages of varying difficulty levels. Okay, so what did we do today? We tried to get some insights into main idea, okay? And I even told you how we can eliminate the options. And we did some good set of exercises today. And I hope that you will continue reading. I want you people to turn up to my next session as well. So enjoy reading, keep studying, and that's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye. Good night.